Hi, good evening, everybody. It is 9:35 Indian Standard Time, and I am here with you going live on my positive mindful living series. We have already done, as part of this series, two workshops. The first workshop was Discovering Mindfulness, an introduction to mindfulness. The second workshop that we did yesterday was all about how the mind works, where we discovered the magic of thoughts and how we are a consequence of thoughts and what we can do to control our thoughts and to make better decisions. What we can do to make the thoughts intrinsic and extrinsic, and how we can use to control these thoughts in our relationships, both with ourselves as well as those around us. Today, we are in part three where we are talking about relationships. Relationship is uh, uh, something that is near and dear to all of us, right? Everything in our life is about relationship. So, according to the dictionary, what is a relationship? A relationship is nothing but the way in which two or more people connect, the way in which two or more people interact. That is what a relationship is. Now, with just that definition, a relationship doesn't seem that hard. I mean, two people interacting, two people connecting, things connecting seems fairly simple, right? And yet, every day, there are so many people, including we ourselves, who find ourselves at the crossroads of different relationships. Relationships that we struggle from, relationships that we are unhappy about, relationships that we wish were better. And that is what this is about making relationships that are better for us day after day. Um, and if you wish to know more about relationships and you wish to know more about the different tenets of relationship, I would recommend that you see this book. This book is written by me. It is Why Relationships Fail: Tips to Make Connections That Last. This book discovers and explores relationship in the context of mindset, in the context of effective communication, expectation, boundaries, leadership, breaking up, unhealthy relationships, comparison, betrayal, and several other things. So let's come down right now to what relationship is, okay? What is at the heart of every relationship? What do you think is at the heart of every relationship? What would you say is at the heart of every relationship? Bond, emotion, love, right? And if it is a bond that we're looking at, if it is an emotion that we are building on, if it is love that we're building on, then where does that emotion and the love come from? We discussed that yesterday. Everything begins with a thought. So it is up to you, right? When the basis and the foundation of a relationship is love, when the basis of a foundation is an emotion, it is up to you to choose those thoughts that are beneficial for you. It is important for you to choose those thoughts that enable you to build your relationship. Remember what we discussed? If a thought is not useful for you, if a thought is not serving you well, especially if it is about a partner or about your relationship that you're in, why would you hold on to that thought? And the easiest and the best way to dispel that negative thought or to step away from that negativity is to practice gratitude. And just for that moment, think and be grateful to that person. And the moment you do that, that negative emotion gets converted into positive. So, coming back. So, we spoke about what makes a relationship. Now, let me ask you another question. What do you need to maintain a relationship? What do you need to maintain a relationship? Communication. So if you need bond, emotions, love to form a relationship, the maintenance happens from communication. Would you not agree to that? Yes. And if communication is what is needed to maintain a relationship, what makes a communication sticky? Why is it that we're unable to communicate? If there is logic and wisdom in that, why is it that communication becomes so difficult and something that we are unable to do? Because of expectations. At the heart of everything lies expectations. Expectations from ourselves, expectations from those around us, expectation from situations and the context. And that is what we're going to be talking about today. Today's discussion is a marriage of how communicating right in the context of expectation is important in any relationship and how that forms the heart of any relationship. Now, recall from yesterday's workshop where we discussed that we are the consequence of our thoughts, correct? So, the first goal of any relationship should be what? Positive and mindful living, which means choosing to think about the right thoughts and maintaining the right attitude and the right mindset in your mind about the person that you are in a relationship with. Keep in mind, to err is human. We are all humans, which means that we make mistakes. Nobody is perfect, including yourself. If you are assuming that you are perfect in your relationship, then my friend, that is where the mistake is happening. That is a cardinal sin and one that I would not want you to indulge in. Also, like you know, that these thoughts that you're thinking about, okay, are in your mind. So when you have a positive thought, it's in your mind. When you have a negative thought about your partner, oh, he's not good. Oh my God, she's not nice. I don't like him. Until and unless you don't communicate to them, they will never know. So, your job and today's discussion on relationship is exactly about communication and about expectation. Now, I'm going to digress a little bit here right now, right? And talk to you about Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, Abraham Maslow was an American psychologist, and he did a lot of research to understand the evolution of humans in terms of expectations. He developed what is called a Maslow hierarchy pyramid. Think of it like a triangle, okay? And this triangle has five rungs. The bottom rung are your tangible needs. So the bottommost rung is your physiological needs. For example, food, water, warmth, and stuff. The rung above that is your security needs. What do you mean by security? Security needs, as in safety, the feeling of being secure, the feeling of being safe. The third rung above that is that of belonging, love, intimate relationships, friendships. The fourth rung, now we're going towards the top of the pyramid. The fourth rung that is above that of belonging is esteem needs. Esteem, as in wanting to get fame, wanting to get prestige, wanting to get accomplishment. That is your fourth rung. Your fifth rung, and the topmost one, is that of self actualization. What is self actualization? It is the ability or the process of achieving one's true potential. That is what the pyramid is. Now, keep in mind, the pyramid is so designed that your tangible needs are at the bottom of the pyramid. And as you proceed forward and upwards, your needs become untangible. Makes sense, right? How can you describe belonging? How can you actually make belonging, love, intimacy, friendship tangible? You can't. What works for me in friendship will not work for you. What works for me in relationships may not work for you. And hence the word untangible. Now, why am I talking about Maslow's pyramid right now?
What is the discussion that we're talking about? We're talking about relationships. And what in relationships did I tell you that we're talking about? Expectation and communication. The reason why I brought up the pyramid, my friends, is someone who's working hard to provide, let's say, put food on the table, to provide for the family. Do you think they have time for romance in their life? Do they have time to feel secure and safe in their life? No. They are at the bottommost rung where they are grinding every single day just for what? Food, shelter, and clothing. That is their basic necessity. Similarly, someone who is in a new job, right, and is actually working to find security in their new job, to find a place for themselves in a new job. Do you think they're going to be bothered about prestige and love and esteem and self actualization? Not really. So, where you are placed in that pyramid really influences the kind of relationships that you are in. What does that mean? If somebody in that relationship, if somebody is in, let's say, the rung one or the rung two of a relationship, right? Let's say if somebody uh, is working towards putting food on the table, is working towards finding a job, making a name for themselves. If that person gets in touch with somebody who is already well to do, there is a mismatch. And depending upon how much of time that each of us is spending in that rung of that pyramid, it will influence the health of your relationship. Relationships are of different kinds, right? And that is what we are exploring in today's discussion. Depending upon where we are in that pyramid, depending upon what we are doing, and how much time we are spending, our relationship and our expectation from the relationship varies. Let me try and break this down into three examples so that you understand. Okay? First example is, imagine a housewife and a working man. Now, it is a working man. For a working man, where do you think he's spending more time? And I want you to write down this pyramid so that you remember it, right? If a man is working, what is his priority? His priority is the first ladder, the first step. What was the first step? Putting food on the table, earning money so that he can take care of his family. His priority is that. Above that, what is the priority? To give, provide safety and security to the family and himself. That means to provide assurance to the family. That is his second priority. Only once these two are met does he have the time to look into the third step, which is romance and intimate relationship and friendships and all of that. That is the psychology of a working person. Keep in mind, we are discussing today's discussion because it is a very short live session. We are discussing relationships in a very short bioscope. Okay, it is in a very constricted view, and I don't want you to think of this view as being absolute. It is the view is constricted to just explain to you and convey to you a certain viewpoint. That is it. So coming back, a wife who's sitting at home, what is she going to do? She's watching soap operas. Yes, her job is also first one, providing, putting food on the table. So she's cleaning the house, making sure everything is well taken care of, and she's putting food on the table. But once food is on the table, she's getting a sense of security because the man is working, the husband is working. So she's feeling a little bit safe, a little bit secure. She has more time on her hands to go to the third step, which is what? That of belonging, that of exploring intimate relationships and love. Now, the wife is spending more time in the third step. The husband is spending more time in the first and second step. What do you think their relationship is going to be? Don't you think there's going to be a mismatch? because she's sitting at home and she might be watching soap operas or movies or whatever, where she's expecting the man to come and sing songs for her or run around her or be romantic. But this man is coming home having worked hard with the priority of putting food on the table. That is the importance of that pyramid. Once you are able to assess your relationships based on where each person is in the pyramid, you are able to understand where they are, what they need in life, and how you can help them. Because relationship is all about helping one another and helping each other become better. It is about empowering one another and making your relationship the most powerful that they can be. Let me give you a second example. Okay, since we are talking about examples, second example could be both working partners. When both people are working, what do you think is going to happen? I want you to think about it. Where do you think they are spending most of their time as per the hierarchy? When both partners are working, they are also spending time. One, which is, hey, I need to earn the bottommost rung of the table, of the pyramid, like we discussed, where they're saying, yes, I need to put food on the table, I need to earn money, I am career oriented. And once they are earning money, what is the second priority they have? We're talking about the second example, which is where both people, both partners in a relationship are working. The second priority for them is what? Let's build security and safety for ourselves. Let's secure our future. So both of them are working and grinding every single day to earn money. Second, to secure themselves. And then, only then, as they are working hard, they get into the third rung of the Maslow's pyramid, like we discussed, which is that of intimacy. Then they begin to enjoy being romantic, getting intimate. They begin to enjoy exploring friendships. That is what Maslow studied and he discovered. That was what his research was about. The third example that I want to talk to you about is, what if two people meet and develop a relationship when they are working, when they are in college, for instance? At that point, both of them are equal, right? There is no other expectation. Because their expectation when they are in college or when they are working is exactly the same. It is about creating credibility for themselves. It is about creating a name for themselves. It is about feeling secure in each other and with each other. Because relationship bonding also adds to security. And that is the reason why they are doing what they are doing. Let's do a quick exercise right now to make sure that you have understood what I have been saying so far, okay? We spoke about expectations. We spoke about Maslow's pyramid. Let's take three examples. What happens when expectations differ? Example one, what happens when expectations differ, right? When expectations differ, how many of you have heard of, let's say, unhappy marriages, broken marriages of people in love? Have you heard about it? Can I get some answers if you've heard about it? That's right. That's right. We have, right? All of us have heard about people who were in love, who become unhappy, who have some kind of a fallout. Why do you think that happens? Two people fall in love to feel secure, to belong, to explore companionship, to explore intimacy, or whatever it may be the case. But what if their intrinsic expectation is different? What if one person in the relationship is ambitious and running after prestige, while the other one wants to spend time in the belonging phase of the pyramid? Okay, for those that have just joined right now, I'm going to just quickly tell you what we are discussing, just to give you a context. I mentioned earlier on in the conversation when the workshop started the Maslow's pyramid. Abraham Maslow was an American psychologist who discovered how human needs evolve and develop over time, and how we choose behaviors and attitudes depending upon how our needs are met. And with that context, this pyramid becomes crucial in understanding people and relationships and understanding ourselves as well. The pyramid, think of it like a triangle. The lowmost, it consists of five rungs. That means five steps. The bottommost rung of that pyramid is a physiological need. Physiological need being what? Like we say, right? Shelter, food, warmth, clothing. That is your basic need. The pyramid also states, Maslow also stated, that the bottom rung of the pyramids are tangibles, right? Is food tangible? Is shelter tangible? Is clothing tangible? Yes. We need few pair of clothes to live comfortably. We need 3 meals a day to live comfortably and to be healthy. We need a shelter to stay healthy and to stay safe. So these all are tangible. The second rung in that pyramid is that of safety and security, of wanting to be safe and of wanting to be secure. Again, that is a tangible, not as tangible as food and clothing, but definitely a tangible, right? Because warmth, security, safety for me could be a little different than what it is for you. And as you can see, the tangibles soon become untangibles as we go upwards in the pyramid. The third rung and the middlemost rung is that of intimacy, is that of belonging. See, once you have food, once you are happy, once you are safe, what do you need? Someone to share, someone to talk to, someone to spend time with. You want companionship. And with companionship, what is the next step? You want intimacy. And after the intimacy, what is the next step? You want friendship, you want love. That is the third and the middlemost rung of the pyramid. The one above that is fine. Now you have found love. So, again, let's recap. So, you have food to eat, you have clothes to wear, you have a house to live in, you are feeling happy about yourself and secure about yourself. You have found companionship, you have found love, you have found belonging, and your mind and your heart is at a better place. What do you need next? You need prestige, you need credibility, you need fame. And that is that, and with that in mind, we go to the fourth layer, which is esteem. Now, once you get credibility, once you get fame, once you get power and influence, what is the last thing that you need? It is the topmost layer, which is called the self actualization layer. In the self actualization layer, this is where we break the masks off and we really reach our true potential. There are very, very few people in this world who can actually reach the topmost layer as per Maslow's research. It is present, but to go to that phase of actually self actualization means that you have walked across all the tangibles and the untangibles and reached a path and a phase where you want to really create history for what you have done through your deeds or through your actions. Now, coming back, Maslow's pyramid is very important in understanding relationships, right? I gave you an example of when expectations differ. We are going to take three case studies to understand this. First case study is when expectations differ. Second is, hey, when expectations evolve over time. Third is when expectations evolve so much that the paths diverge. These are the three case studies that we're going to talk about to understand Maslow's pyramid and to understand relationships. So, the first case study, right? We already discussed that where we said two people fall in love to feel secure, they fall in love to belong, they fall in love to explore companionship, intimacy, whatever the case may be. So, when they are falling in love, they are meeting Maslow's needs. But when they begin to live, when they begin to create their journey of life together, they suddenly realize that the expectations are different. Maybe one person's expectation is to go after prestige, and the other person's expectation might be just to uh, have enough and put food and water, put food, shelter on the table and clothing on the table, or to have a happy and peaceful life. So for them, belonging is important. In this case, when your expectations are mismatched, you have come together, yes, but when your expectations are mismatched in a relationship, you will run into issues. You will run into problems because one person is expecting something else and the other person is expecting something else. Let's take the second case study, right? How many of you have heard uh, or seen, happy couples becoming dissatisfied over time? They are happy marriages, they are healthy marriages, but over time, they become dissatisfied, they become unhappy, they become frustrated. Have you ever observed that? Have you ever seen that? If you have, you know that sometimes when two people have the same wavelength, they have similar dreams, they come together to form one unit, to form one team. Life is great, life is hunky dory. They're supporting each other, they are working their way through the pyramid, like we just discussed. But then suddenly, I want you to think about this. But then suddenly, one person gets an opportunity to maybe relocate. One person gets an opportunity for a better role at work. And for that better role at work, he or she needs to put in more hours at work. And when he or she needs to put in more hours at work, what does that mean? It means lesser hours at home with the spouse. So, do you see how that expectation from himself or herself evolved over time? Now, if this expectation is not communicated to the partner, the partner will think that the partner is losing you. The partner is going to think that your marriage is a failure or that you don't care about the partner anymore. This is why communication becomes a must. It is but natural for expectations to evolve over time. But when expectations are evolving for you, it is very, very important to communicate because your expectations, my friend, is only in your mind. It is your thought, just like what we discussed yesterday. Till you don't communicate your thought to the other person can never know what happened and they can never understand. Can you imagine how that conversation will go? Do you think it's going to go well? Will it not end up with fighting and nagging and frustration and the couple walking out of each other? Because the man or the woman who's taking that decision of getting a better job is taking with the assumption that the partner will understand. You cannot assume. That is the biggest mistake that we make in relationships. You want to grow, it is great to grow, but come back and discuss because it is your expectation from yourself to grow. Because for you, your Maslow's pyramid, you want that prestige. Since you have already got intimate relationships, you want to move above the intimate relationships to that of esteem, to that of prestige. But what if your partner is stuck in that belonging phase? What if for your partner, life will begin and end in that belonging phase? Life going forward becomes very difficult in such a situation. Let's talk about the third case study, right? Where expectations have evolved to differ over time. What does that mean? Have you, I'm sure you have, and you could see even in, and I'm assuming this with Amir Khan's divorce that happened recently, right? excuse me, where couples marriages are healthy over a long period of time. And they are absolutely fine. You look at them, you feel they are healthy, they're in a good relationship, and then suddenly after 18 years of marriage, after 20 years of marriage, you hear the couple divorcing. If you think about it, I'm sure you'll see some of you will recollect some such couples around your environment. What do you think is happening there? What's happening there is that each of them has evolved over time. Their pyramid's journey has grown in different ways. Their life's experiences has given them different desires, has given them different goals, has given them different visions of what they want to do in their life. And because their visions and their desires and their expectations from themselves is so different, that they come to a consensus that, you know what, we love each other, we care for each other, but we cannot be in a committed relationship with each other because we want to do different things in life. Maybe one person wants to travel the world and explore, and the other person wants to stay and uh, serve the community. It's different, right? In that case, the right thing to do is again to communicate, to be aware of your expectations, to be aware of your Maslow's pyramid and where you are going and where you want to spend time in. And once you are aware of that, when you discuss that with your partner, you actually hold on to friendship. It is better to communicate and diverge rather than fight and break that relationship, because friendship is very valuable, especially 18 years of friendship with a partner that you so called that was your spouse. You would love to have that partner for a friend, wouldn't you, for the rest of your life? And that is how we tie the topic for today's conversation, which is expectation and communication are key for any relationship. Very, very, very important. And on all of the three cases, right? Case one, where the expectations were different, all you had to do is when you get together, when you form friends, when you get married, when you're going around with someone, before you commit to one another, it is very important to communicate what your expectations from life are. It is very important to understand where you are in that pyramid and where the other person is in that pyramid. Once you have built that kind of self awareness in how you think, you will find the strength to communicate. And once you find the strength to communicate, mistakes become lesser and fewer. Similarly, in case two, where we said that expectations evolved over time. Expectations evolve, my friend, because you felt secure. Because in your case, coming back to Maslow's pyramid, in your case, you wanted to go to the fourth rung, which is that of prestige, which is that of esteem, right? You thought you were happy in your intimate relationships. You thought you were safe and secure with what you have. You thought you are making enough to be able to put food on the table, to be able to live a wonderful life. And only when these three needs were met, you wanted more. And that's a very natural progression of human beings. But while you want more, the other person may not want more. The moral of the story is, as you are progressing in the upward rungs of the pyramid, it is very important to touch base and keep connected with the lowermost rungs. Because most often, what happens is those people who become super ambitious and who move towards the rung of prestige and esteem or even self actualization, they lose on personal relationships because they get so caught up on running towards a goal that they become mindless about what they have. And with this statement, I am tying it down to the first workshop that we did. Remember, we discussed mindlessness and mindfulness. And that is how we are tying this entire series. It is extremely important to keep in touch with every phase in that pyramid as you are moving ahead. Because if you don't do that mindfully, you feel you are gaining, but while you are gaining at one end, you are losing at the other end. And that can be extremely uh, saddening and disappointing. Let's give you an example, okay? I'm going to talk to you about three examples. Okay, let me start with two examples of clients, people that I spoke to. And the reason I'm giving you an example is to give you a context on the importance of the pyramid and on the importance of communication and expectation, just so that you understand. So, the first example is on the importance of the pyramid. So, I had a client who came to me, and she's from a good background, uh, well to do, financially stable. When she was in college, when she was doing her degree, her undergrad, she fell in love with a jockey. And as maybe she was misguided with her friends and someone played a bad role in her life or whatever, she thought that her relationship with that jockey was pure and right for her. So in her case, it's what I told you about the first example, right? The Maslow's pyramid did not match. The they got together, the bond was formed to explore intimacy, to explore a relationship, to explore companionship. But the expectations did not match. So neither the expectations matched and neither the pyramid matched. Because if one person, the reason that she even found the courage to fall in love with the jockey is because at home she was secure. At home, her needs were being met. So her physiological needs were met. She found safety. And her third step of relationships was also being met because she had a fantastic relationship with her parents. She was the only child. So she was well loved and taken care of. And in that exploration of relationships, she found and fell in love with the jockey. They got married. But it ended very poorly. It ended so poorly that it left her scarred, physically and emotionally abused. So much so that we had to work together to help her get out of it. That is an example of why the Maslow's pyramid is important. Why is it important? I could give you a second example that all of you can agree with, right? When we do arranged marriages, especially in a country like India, or what do we look at? We look at whether the status is the same. We look at whether the mentality and the education is the same. Now it's not an assured or a guaranteed method of happy marriages. I get that. This I am a therapist. I have enough marriages that I am counseling for me to know that it is not sure shot. But all I'm trying to tell you is that is the psychology of human beings, and that is the psychology that has been researched and developed and established. That only when we are we resonate with the other person, right? Only then together can we move on to the next step in our lives. The second example that I would like to give you, just to put this entire conversation into perspective, is uh, okay. So there was another girl who came to me, right? Happy, uh, very popular in college. She was popular, she was happy. In fact, she had a lot of friends who were boys and girls. And that, as per today's norm, is pretty normal, right? She had this boy, again from a well to do family. So, in this case, the Maslow's pyramid worked. The Maslow's pyramid was aligned, but what was not aligned was expectations. So this is what I was telling you. Maslow's pyramid is just a guidance, is just a metric. It doesn't guarantee you success. So coming back to this example, she got married to this boy who actually wooed her, who knew who she was, who knew that, she was whoever she was, happy, forward, independent, pragmatic, and she loved tattoos. This girl had a couple of tattoos on her. He liked all that about her. But once they got married, now that means she got married into a good family. She got married into a well-to-do family with in-laws at home. What happened is he let suspicion enter the relationship. Suddenly, the expectations were mismatched. They did not discuss the expectations before entering the marriage. And even after they entered the marriage, they did not have a single conversation together where they spoke about each other's expectations. Had they done that, the outcome of their marriage would have been so much more different. What happened instead was nagging, suspicion, betrayal, fights, tears, anger, and continuous anger, with so much of negativity going around every single day. What do you think is going to happen to their relationship? His expectation all of a sudden was for her to just drop all contact from all of the male friends she had. Her expectation was, you knew that I have friends. You knew that I am a friendly person. You knew that these are my friends and they are important for me. And as part of that, I am going to stay in touch with them. And I'm not talking to someone else. I'm talking to people that you know. See, the expectations are so different. But those expectations, my friend, were in each of their heads. They did not come out and talk to each other. So, what is uh, the critical point in a relationship? Expectations and communications. It all begins with that, and it all ends with that. The issue is, we get caught up in this mess, either being defensive or either being offensive, both of which is not right. The solution is to be mindful of the situation, and that starts by being compassionate to ourselves, our needs, and then to be compassionate to the person in front of us. When we are offensive, we are hurting the other person. When we are defensive, we are hurting ourselves. And in any relationship where hurt is present, the relationship cannot be healthy. So, this is something that I really want you to think about. And since today's topic is about relationships and building mindfulness, I am going to go into a self compassion mindfulness meditation right now. I would want you to uh, go along with me as I guide you through this self compassion mindfulness session. What I want you to do is first let's understand what is self compassion, right? And as I guide you through this session, I want you to build the purpose of this meditation is first to be able to love yourself, to be able to find self compassion for yourself. Once we are able to find self compassion for ourselves, we are able to give it to our relationships. We're able to give it to people around us. And once we approach relationships with compassion, the entire dynamic of the relationship changes. Now, before I'm talking about self compassion again and again and again, right? What is self compassion? Self compassion actually comes from a word called metta. It's a Sanskrit word, and it belongs to one of those 10 attributes that Buddhism believes in. And it is the first of the four Buddhist virtues, which is um, which are also called as immeasurables. So essentially, self compassion can translate to kindness, friendship, loving, and that is what we're going to discover right now. So, what I want you to do for this meditation is I want you to think of someone that you're compassionate about. And when I say compassionate, I actually mean in the context of loving them more than anything else in the world. It's like how a mother would love a child, or it's how, like, maybe a child will love the parent. If you are in love right now, maybe you love your boyfriend or your girlfriend like that. Maybe you love your husband or your spouse like that. For the first part of this meditation, I want you to think of someone that you are extremely compassionate about, that for whom there is only love in your heart, there is care in your heart, there is protectiveness in your heart. If you have such a person in mind, I want you to type yes, because only when you have that person can I begin this meditation for you, right? I want you to type yes if you have already thought about some person that you are extremely passionate about, that you are compassionate about. And once you have done that, I am keeping the music ready. We can launch into our meditation session. All right, I am getting some yeses here. Shrija says she is ready with someone in mind. Um, I have gotten yes from my YouTube also. Perfecto. All right, I have got yeses there as well. And I am going to my Facebook there. Can I get some yeses? Yes. Simpy also says yes. Fantastic. So I have yeses on all of my three forums. Okay. I am going to start the music right now. Remember, the purpose of today's meditation is in the context of building self compassion. Self compassion, why? So that we are able to forgive ourselves, so that we are able to forgive our partners or whoever we are in a relationship with, because the purpose of a relationship that we care about is to move forward. And sometimes what we need is compassion to find the strength to forgive. And that is the purpose of this meditation. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to do different things. I want you to again try and do it. If you are not able to do it, don't worry about it. Practice makes perfect. I am putting a lot of pressure on you, but then we have been doing mindfulness over the last couple of days. And if you have been practicing, I am sure you will be able to achieve and get closer to the goal today. All right. As you hear this music, I want you to close your eyes and bring your awareness to where you are, to where you are seated. Bring your awareness to the ground underneath your feet. Bring your awareness to my sound that is guiding you at this very moment. As you are able to notice all these things, I want you to try and shift your focus and notice your breath going in and out. I want you to pay attention to the movement of your diaphragm inside of you. As you allow yourself to notice your breathing, be aware of the temperature of the breath that's going in and the breath that's coming out. And as you're bringing your attention to that breathing, I want you to be aware, curious, or even attentive to any physical sensations of your breathing in and out, paying minute attention at this point to how you breathe in and out, the physical sensations, if any, that you exhibit when you breathe in and out. As you are breathing in and out, I want you to now bring your awareness and attention to the feeling of compassion, the feeling of love, the feeling of kindness, and deep, abiding care and concern. Take your time. Bring to your consciousness each of those thoughts and notice the emotions that come with it. The emotion of love, of kindness, of care, of concern, of compassion. And as you feel your heart full with those emotions, bring to your mind someone in your life who is precious to you, who is so dear to you. And as you're thinking of that person, can you imagine yourself hugging that person, touching them, holding them, bringing them closer to you? And as you're holding them, I want you to send them the following vibes. Allow yourself to give them this courage and strength. Send them peace and tranquility. Send them happiness and joy. Send them strength to take away their distress. Send them love to help them deal with their suffering, if at all. And as you are sending them your compassion, your love, your kindness, and your concern, I want you to continue to imagine that person inside within you, holding on to them and sending to them all these emotions that we just spoke about. Notice how your body is reacting, how your mind is reacting as you're creating these emotions and manifesting them for someone else. Note any physical changes in your body, sensations, tightness in your chest, lightness in your mind, whatever that change may be, warmth in your hands, maybe some sweating in your palms. Notice those changes without any judgment. And now that you are aware and you have proven that you can manifest these emotions, I want you to direct them to you. Imagine hugging yourself. Imagine touching yourself. Picture yourself in your arms and send to yourself peace and tranquility, happiness and joy, confidence to deal with your suffering if that might come, and hope and prayers to decrease your distress. Sending to yourself kindness, care, concern, and compassion. Allowing yourself to feel secure, to feel loved, to feel wanted, to feel confident. Notice how these feelings make you feel. Notice the thoughts that come in your mind. Notice that sensations in your body as these emotions evolve and take birth inside of you. Bringing your attention to you. Love, compassion, kindness, hope, confidence, security, all of it. And as you feel love, as you're filled with hope, I want you to bring your attention and awareness back to where you are right now, to the chair where you are sitting on, to the music in the background, to the voice that's guiding you. And as you do that, and as you open your eyes, I want you to rub your hands as fast as you can and give that energy and the warmth to the rest of your face. How did that feel? Were you able to follow through? Were you able to give yourself that compassion? How did that feel? Yes, Simpy, this session is going to be available on Facebook. Yes, you can go through it at any time. I am sorry that you're having network issues and it's raining heavily. Don't you worry about it. This is going to be made available, and yes, you can come back and preview it how many ever times you want. Don't you worry about it. Were you able to go through the meditation? Were you able to feel compassionate? Were you able to imagine yourself in front of you and giving yourself hope, giving yourself love, giving yourself security? Because we become insecure as people, right? The reason our relationships sometimes run into issues and our we become misaligned with expectation and communication is because deep down we become insecure. And this meditation was to build that kind of confidence and security inside of you, to make you realize that you're solid and you work. So Abhi says, good, I was able to imagine hugging myself. Never did that before. So it was an eye opener. Fantastic. That was the whole idea, right? We get so busy loving people, running after people sometimes, that we forget to love ourselves. We forget to take care of ourselves. And that's what this exercise was about. Um, and with that, I think we have come to an end. What I do want you to do is definitely practice this mindfulness. Pay attention to what we discussed today. We discussed Maslow's hierarchy. We discussed the importance of expectation and the importance of communication, the importance of understanding where you are in that hierarchy and where the other person is in that hierarchy. Because many times in a relationship, we are walking on two different paths. And when we are walking in two different paths, we are not aligned. And that's when the problem happens. Allowing suspicion, allowing distrust, allowing mistrust to enter a relationship actually breaks that pyramid. Because if that person is, let's say, working towards the fourth goal in the pyramid, which is of prestige, they are assuming belonging works for them. That means relationship works for them. They are assuming safety and security from that relationship and from home. They are assuming that their needs, basic needs, are being taken care of. And somewhere in between, if expectations get misaligned, communication is dropped, and a thought that is not valid. This is what we talked about yesterday. A thought, for example, in this case, let's say suspicion or stupid thoughts like, I'm not happy with how much work she's doing. She's not carrying her weight around at home. I'm doing so much of work at home. Some of them are legitimate. Where they are legitimate, it's valid. But in cases where it is not legitimate, when you give in to that thought, instead of opposing it, the pyramid breaks. And when the pyramid breaks, you have a chance to realign your expectation by communication. Sometimes you are given that chance, and sometimes you're not. So, this is something I want you to go back, listen to this video, because this video talks about and breaks down relationships with the pyramid in mind and expectations and communication in mind. I'm sure that if you go back and listen to it, you will find it helpful and useful, and it is going to give you food for thought as you not only get into relationships that are intimate in future, but all kinds of relationships, be it friendship, be it professional, be it whatever that might come across. With that in mind, we are done with today's session. We are going to do this one for the last time tomorrow at 9:30 p.m., where we will bring all of this together and also talk about self-awareness. And that with self awareness is how we will tie this entire positive mindful living together. And hopefully, it'll give you enough of arsenal to live your life that is a little bit more mindful than where you are today. If you have any questions, if you have anything that you want to talk to me about, go ahead, feel free to reach out to me. You have my information available. I'm always available on DM. If not, just leave a comment and I will get back to you. I am also posting as part of this video few videos, links to few of my videos that I feel are pertinent to relationships. Go ahead and look at those videos, and I hope they give you a new perspective on how to assess relationships, especially your relationship with yourself, which is first and foremost. All right, bye now. See you. Good night. Thanks, Abhi. You're most welcome, Abhi. Thank you so much. I appreciate you logging in every day and being a part of it. Thanks now. Bye.